You're committing to not decide. Like your decision is I refuse to decide. And you have to call yourself out on it, right? Here's how you get over procrastination. You choose one thing. You commit to doing that one thing and you complete the one thing.
Hey there, I'm Maida Leon, and my mission is to help creatives like you translate what you love to do into a highly profitable income. So if you're an ambitious creative who wants to craft the life you love, get cozy, feel at home, and listen to the Confident Creator Show. This episode is sponsored by the Elite Creators Inner Circle. It's my 12-week profit multiplier program for artists and creative business owners who are ready and committed to making 4 to 5-figure monthly sales without the 80-hour work weeks. To learn more about it, go to maidaleon.com/elite creators. Hey creators, and welcome to another episode of the Confident Creators Show. I am so honored because my guest today is a brilliant woman. We were actually both in the same mastermind, and since I met her, I have admired her a lot. So seeing her on the show today is such an amazing experience. Award-winning celebrity communication, body language, and certified confidence coach, Karen Donaldson is a force to be reckoned with. She is the go-to body language and communication expert for both Cosmopolitan and Women's Health magazines. Karen is often called upon by local and national media as a guest communication and body language expert, best known for her analysis of the body language of celebrities and politicians in the media. She is also a 3-time best-selling author and a passionate and energetic speaker. Her thought-provoking and engaging talks give her audiences new insights into how they can increase their impact and confidence whenever they communicate, as well as use body language to understand others, to learn more about their own body language, and increase their credibility factor. Karen not only coaches professionals, senior executives, celebrities, and entrepreneurs across the globe to present themselves as trustworthy and confident as possible. She also speaks and has spoken on stages and virtual stages across North America, Europe, and Africa. Karen's commitment is to show ready and willing professionals how to become the confident leader and communicator who is comfortable in their own skin and whom others are drawn to, admire, and want to follow. Welcome to the show, Karen Donaldson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, I could not believe it.
I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. You are here. It is such an honor, so thank you for your time. Now, I know you have an amazing bio. I just read it and I feel so happy, but can you tell our listeners a little bit about your story? How did you get started with your business so we can understand more about you and what you do?
Absolutely, yes, a very long bio, but I'm going to keep it simple. So I'll tell you in crux what I do, regular language, and how I got started. So currently I am a celebrity communication, body language, and confidence coach. And my journey to get there has not been a straight one whatsoever. And let me just walk you through how I got started and what I do, because by training, I'll let you know, I have a Bachelor of Applied Science. So yes, I said communication, body language, and confidence coach. I'm a science geek, science nerd, and love it. However, that's not where my expertise comes from. So let me share. In my last year of high school, which was years ago, but nonetheless, I became pregnant. And up until the point before I became pregnant, I found out after Christmas, my last year of high school, I was, captain of all of my sports teams, really good athlete, kind of an A/B student, student mentor, had a very good rapport with the teachers and things like that. So just had a lot of good friends and was well known in my school. And when I came back and everyone found out I was pregnant, I lost most of my friends, probably like 98% of my friends. Just a handful still want to talk to me. All the teachers lost faith in me. I started to miss classes. I started to sit at the back. And I did that for a couple of months. And then there was this one day where I was walking home and I saw my own reflection in the bus shelter. And I said to myself, Karen, you are allowing the words and actions of others to define you, and you define you. You need to stop it. You define you. And you're only pregnant. You're not diseased. You're not contagious. You're not going to give something to them. And if they decide to not like you, that's okay. But you have to like yourself. So from that point on, I went back to school, with my head held high. I didn't care what people thought. And people saw that in my demeanor and my attitude. And that year I graduated with the President's Award, the top athletic award, although I was pregnant. And from that point, I was invited out by colleges, universities, other high schools. Then it went to leadership retreats. Then organizations were hiring me to come out and speak. And at that time, I was speaking about, personal leadership and perseverance. And I truly did not know that public speaking could be a full profession. And about 5 years into my career, I was being flown across North America with my daughter or by myself and being paid. At that time, it was $500 and a lot of money. And I was being picked up in a limo at my house and I was being put up in suites. And it was just great. Like, you're younger, you're 20 years old and you can order anything from the menu and the limo picks you up. It was great. But there was this one speaking engagement that I went to, and there were some other speakers there. And one came up to me because I had received a standing ovation when I was finished. And he said to me, Karen, that was phenomenal. We spoke a bit. Then he said, what is your speaker fee? And in that moment, I said $500, because I was excited. That was a lot of money to me to just talk about what you loved. And then he told me that he and the other speakers got paid $5,000. And I was the only one who got paid $500. And he became my mentor and he showed me the ins and outs of the speaking industry. And that's how I got started in the speaking industry. And from just my experience of what I went through in high school, having spoken in front of so many groups, I created a system of my own. And literally that's what I use to help people today. And throwing 10 years forwards, my last full-time job, here's how I actually started as a public speaking coach. So I had my own system that I used, but I hadn't really taught it to anyone. I spoke on behalf of my organization, and the CEO came up to me and he said, Karen, who did your organization hire for you to speak like that? And he wanted to hire the same person. And I laughed and I said, well, no one, I've just got that skill set. And he's like, yeah. Who did they hire for you? And I told him that I've been speaking for that time over 10 years. And I know how to engage people and I know how to show other people to show up with confidence, increased confidence. I have an ability to, and it was just by my experience that I created this system and formula to help other people do the same. So with the public speaking coaching, it started after my last job, but the keynote speaking and the system that I had been using. And, when I spoke to youth, I basically gave them the steps that I used. So how can you show up with more confidence? How can you own who you are right now and stand in the world proudly, whether it's online or offline? And that's literally it. My business has taken off. It's 11 years in the making. It's been profitable, phenomenally profitable. I do 6-figure launches all the time, 6-figure months. It's been phenomenal. And I love doing what I do.
Oh, yeah, that was super powerful. And, doing something for a living that you actually really love, just like us creatives, is what? Amazing, right?
Yes.
It's not like we don't have a job at all. And it is always fun to actually help people do what they wanted to do and help them really get the same maybe level of income that we are having, because that's what we have done for ourselves. So we want them to have that same experience. And when I watched you on your Facebook talking about confidence, That was the moment that I told myself I have got to get Karen on the podcast. I know she will be super. I know a lot of creatives are going to benefit from what you are going to teach, because I know you've been able to help creatives, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and politicians with a different way to think about confidence. What is your philosophy, and how do you help them, with their confidence?
Okay, good question. And I love talking about this stuff. So here, okay, let's get to it. So for anyone who's listening, I don't care who you are, what you do, but I know you're creatives, or most of you. Just pause for a moment. I want you to take stock of, or just ask yourself, how do you actually define confidence? Because in truth, we have been groomed from just life, what we watch, what we listen to, being in the general, whether public or private education system. We have been conditioned to think that confidence is a feeling. We've been groomed to think that confidence is an emotion. And my friends, it's not. You can do as much research as you want to. Doesn't matter, Darwin theory, research done by Berkeley, California, up to last year. There are up to 30 plus emotions that we feel as human beings, and confidence is not one of them. Confidence is an actual attitude and a behavior, which means confidence is a choice, and it is within our control. And not until we make the shift of redefining what it means to show up confidently can we be more confident. So just think about it. The reason a lot of people struggle with feeling confident is because they can't. It's not a real thing. So everyone's been trying to feel this feeling, that doesn't even exist. So here's what I often tell, as I share with my clients. I want to kind of deconstruct your current belief about confidence, because it's just not true. It just does not exist. Just like we as humans need oxygen to breathe, we know that we can't inhale gas and survive, correct? It's just common knowledge. We don't have to know gas theories. If we inhale oxygen, if we inhale gas for 50 minutes, we'll die. If we inhale oxygen, we survive. That's the simplicity of, there's no definition. There's no feeling of confidence because it doesn't exist. So that's the first premise of my philosophy. And now that we know confidence is an attitude and behavior, we can now control it. So let go of trying to feel confident, right? Because that's not truly the feeling we're looking for, It totally is not the feeling we're looking for. Because if it's a choice and if it's a behavior and attitude, you want to ask yourself this, and this is the exercise. Is it okay if I do a quick exercise with the listeners?
Of course, we'd love it.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to use everyone's language. I want you to think of, and you can't see me, it's a podcast, I'm doing air quotes. Think of the last time you felt in your head confident. Right? If that was an experience, the last time, I'm using your language, you felt confident or you acted with confidence. That's the real thing that we need to start talking about. But nonetheless, I'm going to give you 3 seconds. Felt confident, you acted and showed up with confidence. 3, 2, 1. Just think of that one last time. So number 1, that showcases to you that it's doable. Now, when you felt confident or you showed up with confidence, how were you actually feeling? And who were you being? So when I say feeling, were you happy? Were you excited? When I say who were you being, were you prepared? Were you dressed well? Did you have all your notes? Did you say a prayer before? Did you meditate before? And those are the feelings, and the way you showed up is how you want to show up so you can act with confidence. So we're looking for those actual feelings and that way of being. So for some people, they say, well, Karen, quote unquote, I feel confident when I'm dressed professionally. Well, now you know to show up with more confidence, sometimes you might be doing a FaceTime. Dress professionally if you know it drives that feeling of self-worth. Right? So that is my philosophy. We go a little bit deeper, but nonetheless, that's it. We need to let go of trying to feel confident and know that we have a choice. We can choose to show up with confidence. So that's how I start to help my clients. So we forget about feeling confident and say, okay, well, how do you want to show up? And then how do you need to actually feel? What feelings do you need so you can take that action? Who do you need to be? How do you need to be thinking? and we position ourselves and we practice that. So it becomes a new behavior. So whenever we're uncomfortable and we're like, oh my goodness, I want to show up with confidence, we know what we need to do for ourselves to act with confidence, because it's not brand new for us, Mai. It's not. We have all had an interview where we're feeling nervous before, but when we got in the room, we were smiling. We answered the questions, and you might have felt the nerves inside, but you put it out there. And someone who was watching didn't even know you were nervous. That's you acting with confidence. So you have to own that you've already acted with confidence in different situations, and you are able to control it. Right? So it's being mindful that we actually control what happens to us. It's a choice. It's a choice.
Oh, well, that's super interesting. I love it. And because you mentioned about, getting dressed and prepping up, putting on some makeup just to feel more confident, I have done that since I listened to that Facebook Live that you did. And here's the funny thing. I was having for a year since the lockdown. You remember, I forgot that I needed to wear makeup whenever I go live, and whenever I do coaching programs, I don't put on makeup because, well, we're in lockdown. Nobody's gonna see me. I'm not going out of the house, so I have forgotten to take care of myself. And slowly, little by little, the feelings that are growing inside me are like I'm starting to lose confidence in actually a couple of things that I have been doing. And then I had a boot camp in January this year. And then I told myself, because I need to be more presentable. I need to get my act together. So I started putting on makeup again, and I started dressing up. And you know what? That feeling that I had before started to go away. And then your Facebook Live came, and I was like, oh, I was doing the right thing. I was actually doing the right thing. The feeling of not being confident has, somehow been tucked away little by little. And then I'm slowly getting the confidence back, except today, because I know I'm going to be talking to you. And Karen is a confidence coach. So I know, oh my goodness, Karen's going to be reading my body language.
Mai, it's funny you say that. Whenever I meet people, sometimes when I share my title, and I often don't, I just tell them how I help people, all of a sudden everyone's posture gets perfect. Everyone straightens up. Just to let you know, I don't assess people when I'm just doing everyday life and enjoying myself. Like it is a job. I love it. However, I turn it off. So don't worry, I'm not assessing. And I love what you said. When you start to put on makeup and it doesn't have to be that for everyone, but for you, we're just talking about Mai's example right here. When she started to get ready for her podcast, although it's audio, she felt better about herself. So the big question is, what do you need to feel better about yourself? Because when we feel better about ourselves, we are able to act more confidently with increased confidence. So remember, throughout our conversation here, everyone will hear the word interchange, feeling confident and acting with confidence. I want you to lean on acting with confidence, but I know right now we've been subconsciously trained for decades, so it's hard to turn it on and off. But that's what I want to, highlight with you felt better about yourself.
Yeah.
And because of that, your ability to show up with confidence and shine was increased. And that's what you want for yourself. Like, what do you need to feel good? I have clients, before they, so I have creative clients as well. So I have artists that I work with, not so much, well, a mix. So artists who draw and actually artists. So songwriters, comedians that I work with. And when we talk about acting and showing up with confidence, for some of them, they literally need to listen to a certain song before they take this big action, right? Because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel energized. Those are the feelings you're looking for, so you can act with confidence. So whatever it is for you, whatever it is for you, I'm similar to you, I love to, I get dressed. I mean, I do all of my coaching online, not only because of COVID, but long before COVID. And some of them are video, but regardless if it's video or audio, I am fully dressed up because I feel so good. I feel fancy and I like feeling fancy. So it just has to fit for you.
I'm going to be Karen from now on. It feels so good. And because you mentioned that, playing songs whenever I started going, especially when I do coaching program and live classes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I do play my national anthem. It's Have It All by Jason Mraz, by the way.
Love it. Love it.
The message is just, I actually am not a big fan. And it's not that I don't like him. It's just that I don't know him a lot better. I heard the song from my kids and then I liked the message. So I kept playing it on. It has become my national anthem whenever I work on websites or creating content and stuff like that. So especially when doing live classes, I will play it and then I'm going to let the students or webinars, I'm going to let the participants hear this song and they will feel somehow, energized as well and inspired. And that has really, really helped us big time. Now, speaking of showing up, you mentioned about showing up. I know creatives and artists are usually scared of showing up because they think less about themselves. They think they're not good enough. What are the other things that stops people from getting their content out in the world, whether it's online or perhaps starting a business or posting?
Right. Good question. What stops people from getting their content online or out there and as artists? Absolutely. One of the big things is this. There can be a few things, and it might not be all for you, but you want to identify what it is for you. Otherwise, you can't change it. So one of the first things is I call it comparisonitis. It's not a real word. It's a Karen Donaldson word in the Karen D dictionary. Comparisonitis is when you see what everyone else is doing outside of the greatness of what you're doing. And, I recently did an example like this. When we live in comparison to other people, we'll always hold ourselves back. The reality is that our path is not supposed to look the same. And if you are comparing, here's what you want to do. You want to stop saying, theirs is better. What if the person doesn't like it? What if it doesn't get likes? What if no one buys it? And change that conversation with yourself to, when it does get out there, I'll feel so. When it does get purchased, that person's going to love it in their house. So remove the what ifs and talk about when it does happen. So back to comparisonitis, we have to stop comparing because our paths will never look the same. And the more we try and match someone else's path to doing something, and I'm not saying you might admire someone and take some little tactics of what they did, but your unique path was set up for you. So number one, we have to stop comparing ourselves because the only thing it does is it keeps us in a plateau. It keeps us unmoving. It keeps us stuck, right? The next thing is this. So stop comparing. Number two, so a lot of the time almost all the time, it comes down to a personal belief, Mai. We know as artists and creatives that it's possible to make a 6-figure business from your artistic skill set. You're a perfect definition of that. However, as people watch, it's not that they don't believe it's true. They don't believe it's true for them. I'll say it again. People know it can happen. They believe it's true. They know, but they don't believe it's true for themselves. So we have to start shifting that belief and say, you know what? It is possible for me because keep it simple. I do great artwork, right? And realize that a part of putting ourselves out there, know that we will be judged. There is no question because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But what's most important is this. What's your opinion of yourself? Stop putting so much power in the opinion of others and come back to, well, Karen, what's the opinion? What opinion do you have of yourself? Because here's the reality. I could have $10,000 and give $100 to a whole set of people I love, my best friends, my family, strangers. And I guarantee you there will be, and I can give away all that money and not keep any, but there'll be one person who will come and say, I can't believe Karen gave some to Mai. Mai is not her family, and I'm her first cousin. We can't please everyone. And when we choose to just say, I believe I'm enough, and stand in the world and share our stuff, our art, our business, our videos with the world, the right people will be attracted to it. And we know it's not going to be everyone. Just like my favorite color is yellow. For some people will be saying that's gross. That looks like vomit. However, they have their favorite color, but we're not going to make each other wrong. So you have to put it out there knowing it will be judged, but you have to stand and know that your opinion matters first. So that's what kind of stops people. And that's what you can do. And one last tactic that I do want to share that's useful. A lot of people, we hear it often, you have to manage your self-talk. You have to manage your self-talk. You have to manage your self-talk. Got it. If it's not working for you, I want you to consider this, just a different take on the same strategy. Right. So I am a certified confidence coach. So I've done a little bit of study and read a whole set of research on neuroscience. And basically, one of the reasons we show up in the way we do or the things we do is because of habits. Everyone understands what a habit is, but we can change our habits, but there's a way to do so. So let me give you a concrete example. Say that we all lived at Mai's house, and Mai has a market that's about 1 kilometer away. And there's a beautiful grass area that we have to walk through to go there. But Mai just moved there. And when we want to walk through the grass area, the grass is high because no one has created that path yet. When we, as humans, when we create a brand new habit, the pathway hasn't been made yet, which is why we have to be consistent with it. Got it? So if we all walk with Mai to the market, I love mangoes, to get mangoes, the first time we go and return, the grass will be trampled a little bit, but the grass will spring back up. Now, if we all as a group of 5 go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single day, all of a sudden that pathway, that grass will start to get matted down and it won't grow there anymore because we travel on it. And the grass on the right and the left is high. That is what a neural pathway is in our brain. That's what a habit looks like. So see if the grass is trampled down and doesn't grow, we can quickly do it. So see how we can tie our shoes as adults, or most adults can tie their shoes and talk at the same time. It's because we have a deep ingrained neural pathway that has been developed. Do you see when a young child is learning to tie their shoe, they have to take their time because they're building a new pathway, the same way we walk to the market. Now, here's what you want to do. If you want to show up with confidence in any situation, when it comes to self-talk, I want you to do self-talk in the third person. So instead of saying, I am enough, my artwork is great, and they will love it, you're going to switch it. You're going to use your name, third person. Karen, you are enough. Karen, you've got this. Karen, your artwork is going to change people's lives. Karen, you do beautiful work. And let me tell you why it's more powerful than saying, I am enough. Remember, we talked about habits and neural pathways when it comes to neuroscience. Now, one of the habits we do have is we can easily support other people, but it's hard for us to be our own cheerleaders and support ourselves. So we can easily say, just think of a child or a younger person around you or a family member or a neighbor, and you'll say, Mai, I love what you do. Mai, your work is beautiful. That comes easily from our mouths because it's a habit to commend and support other people. Just the same way that, remember, we walked from Mai's house to the market, we've trampled it down. That has already developed in our brain, right? The I am enough might be brand new. So it's us trampling over the grass. So remember, when we support other people, third person, we already have a neural pathway. So when we add our name into it, we can receive it easier. We can now internalize it because we already have the wiring in our brain to receive and deliver and say, Karen, you've got this. Karen, you're enough. And then that feeling will be enhanced when you do your self-talk in third person. Got it? So try that. So if you're trying to hit go, you want to share something online, you're going to say, insert your first name. You got this. Karen, people will love your work. Karen, get it done because you're a doer. Karen, you're committed to showing people what's possible for them. So that's another strategy that works phenomenally. I work with semi-pro and pro athletes as well, and they use a third person self-talk.
That was a lot. And that is so powerful. I could not believe we are getting all of this information from you right now. I don't know if no one can see me, but I was nodding and doing those expressions behind the scenes because I am in agreement, full agreement with what Karen has told us. And I remember you talked about comparison a little bit earlier.
Yes.
And I have been a victim of comparison, my own issue. So the problem that the solution that I did was to, because I have been following a lot of famous artists and I have been comparing myself to them, my work to them, how many clients are they getting? They're getting big clients and stuff like that. So what I did, I unfollowed all of them in social media. So
Perfect.
I can focus on just myself and I'm not seeing their posts, I'm not seeing their updates. And when you don't see something like that, you don't think about it. So you can just focus on yourself. And then 7 months later, I have developed my own style. I have developed a lot of calluses too, lettering my own work. but the best thing that came out from that is I have learned to stop comparing myself to others because I know that I am worth something too. And it may not be the same thing as with all these famous artists who are already there and have made and established themselves in the business, but I'm still worth something to other people, to other clients, to different companies, right?
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. That's exactly it. You disrupt that comparisonitis and everyone just listen to what Mai said. For some, it means literally cutting out the distraction, like unfollowing. That sometimes that's what it has to be. Sometimes you're spending your time somewhere else. You have to stop it. But Mai, that's a beautiful example. And you're right. We are born enough. We're not supposed to be the same. We're not supposed to fit every audience. But the less that you put yourself out there, you will never find your audience. You'll never find those people who want you and need you and want your work, right? Or want your support because we're being the best kept secret to ourselves. You know?
And sometimes when we're not feeling confident with ourselves, we keep procrastinating. Like we're not doing things. So I'm going to get to my third question. How do you help your clients get over procrastination and what do you think causes it?
Great question. So here's what causes procrastination. You refuse to decide. I'm keeping it simple. People have all these theories about procrastination. We're going to keep it simple. The reason you procrastinate is because you are not deciding. You're committing to not decide. Like your decision is I refuse to decide. And you have to call yourself out on it. Right? Here's how you get over procrastination. You choose one thing, you commit to doing that one thing, and you complete the one thing. Here's the reality. It may not be the right path, but know that if it isn't, now you know path A doesn't work. Let me go and try path B. Because quite often, because we refuse to choose, we try a little bit of path A, a tiny ounce of path B, and a full handful of path C, and we do nothing with all of them because we haven't fully committed to anything. And we stay there, and it's been a week, then it's been a month, Mai, and then all of a sudden it's 6 months later, and we're still procrastinating. So step one, call yourself out and say, okay, I'm refusing to decide. I'm refusing to choose. Step two, choose one or the other, or even say no, but make a choice. Don't stay in limbo. And step three, you're going to decide or choose or decide, whichever language, choose, commit, and complete. Then move on. Like that's how this is how we break through procrastination. I promise you it's not going to happen. You have to have a plan. So try that. Choose, commit, and complete.
Choose, commit, and complete. I love that. I love that. And you know what? This is a common problem to most creatives. I have been asked this question a lot of times. How do you know? How do I know if it's the right time to do this? How do I know if it's the right product to sell to my clients? Actually, you won't. Right? You won't unless you try to sell it to them or you test it, you do a lot of research, and most of the time, you will have to experience failures before you know it is a success.
And then with your failure, like just it's, people always talk about when you call it, you fail, you fall. It's fine because just call it fall. Because think about the last time you fell down on the ground or you tripped. Did you get back up? Yes. That's how growth happens in general. Whether you're creative, whether you're a business owner, whether you're doing a sport, it doesn't matter. I mean, I have a program in my called Confidence Boot Camp for Men, and there's another one called Confidence Boot Camp for Women, and we talk about that, like redefining what it means to fail. And as you said, how do we know when's the right time? You don't. You just have to decide. You have to make a decision. You have to choose. You have to commit and complete, and then you will see. But we can't learn and we can't know until we do. So know that not everything will go your way, but you'll be wiser the next time you do it. And like that's how all these people you see all over that we shouldn't be comparing to have gotten there. They didn't wake up one day, then they were these, everyone knew about them. They have their falls, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to talk or share their falls with other people to show that they're human, but know that they happened, right? So falls are part of the game. It's a part of growth. It's a part of getting out there.
Yes. And I think part of the reason why people don't want to share is because they fear being judged. I know that because right now I am experiencing that, and it's a different kind of fear. I fear sharing my income online, specifically these days, because I know that people could judge me because they will see that, especially when it comes to relatives, they will tell, why are you not supporting your parents enough? Why are you not helping your siblings enough? Those stuff. So not many people know that there are things behind the scenes that are already happening, but people could judge unfairly, right? And sometimes it is that fear of being judged that, has kept people from doing things, and it paralyzes them. So how do you manage fear of being judged, and especially when it paralyzes you?
Right. Good question. The key thing to remember, and I'm going to touch on what you shared, the key thing to remember is that we will always be judged, my friends. I gave the example a while ago, if I had $10,000, we will always be judged. So I stop going into any situations and anything you do, pretending that like you'll never be judged. Call it out. Like when we can call out things, we basically take down the fire behind it. Say, I know I'm going to be judged. However, what's not important is not what other people think. It's what I think about myself. And there's two reasons. Number one, we have to acknowledge and realize that we are not responsible for other people's responses, their reactions, their opinions, and we're not responsible, most important, for other people's happiness, right? Someone will judge you. I'm not going to lie and say, well, you can ignore it. I'll tell you how to manage it, because it's going to happen. Got it? Yeah. Once again, we're not responsible for other people's actions, opinions, or their happiness. Although they may make you feel like you are, you're not. When we are reluctant to share, we are actually handing over our power to other people. And we are coming from a powerless state. If I'm not sharing because I think this person will, come on, you're giving that much person that much power over your life, because now you're hiding a substantial part of you because of someone else who has the power. They do, right? The other piece of this is when you show up despite being judged, you open space and you show other people that it's okay for them to be themselves and share as well. Doesn't it feel nice when you're like, oh my God, Mai is making 6 figures from art? Do you know how many people you've inspired because you showed them that it's possible for them too? Just think about that. The more you hide it, the more people stand behind walls saying that, oh my goodness, art can't be a full-time business. They've convinced themselves. So there's 2 ways to use, like when we were talking about comparisonitis, one piece is comparison, but the other one is helping you shine a light and opening a space for other people to shine their own light.
Yeah.
Right? For them to believe in themselves. right? So
Mhm.
stop hiding because we hide because we feel powerless. And just listen to that carefully. Someone else holds that power if you're hiding something because of judgment, right? The person who you're fearing will judge you, or the group of people or society has the power. And my friends, it's time to take our power back. Choose, commit, and complete. It's within our control. And for years, so for some of us decades, we've literally been conditioned to be quote unquote products of our environment. We're not. We can be products of our choice, but too often we decide not to choose. So for all those creatives out there who are holding back, get on it. You will be judged. But the question is, how are you judging yourself? Get in that third person self talk. Karen, you've got it. Karen, there's people out there in the world who will love your work and who are waiting to see this. Get it out there. So these are the conversations you want to have with yourself. And just as I said, for other people, you're not responsible for their happiness. No one's responsible for yours either. Stop
Yes.
looking for validation. Stop waiting, because the only validation that will be enough. You'll see people will validate you, but there's a lot of successful people I work with, and they're like, yeah, everyone loves me, but they don't love themselves. So the only validation that matters, although you might think differently right now, is the validation of your own self-belief. And that's a choice. What do I believe to be true for me? And when we can take ownership over that, we become powerhouses. I know, Karen, you are enough. Karen, you are a great communication coach. Karen, not everyone's going to be your perfect client, but Karen, you know exactly how to help someone show up with more confidence when they speak online or offline. That's what you know, Karen. And I go out there and I serve the people who want to be served. Once again, I know it's not everyone. Once again, some people won't like me, Mai, because I don't have a communications degree or PhD, but I've got the experience, and it's fueled the right people, and I attract the right people who want someone who has like the experience of knowing what it feels like to have lights in your eyes and you can't see your notes and you can't see the screen and have your heart flutter. I can walk them through that because I've actually been there. So own your greatness. It doesn't matter what tiny or big pieces they are. Own it, because there's something great about all of us.
Yes, and I know a lot of people have been worried like, I have not achieved anything or I have not done anything yet. You have, you're just not thinking about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
right?
true. We always think it has to be something big. Like completing a piece of artwork is a win. It doesn't matter if you sold it yet. Starting a piece of artwork instead of just sitting with it in your head for 10 weeks, 10 months, 10 years is a win. So we have to start celebrating every win, no matter the size, instead of just waiting until it's sold or waiting until I get a client. No, I've started to craft my online program. Yes, yes, yes. Like that's a win in itself,
Yeah, you
So
just
we
have to
have to
start
start.
somewhere.
You got it. It starts somewhere. It starts somewhere. We have to celebrate as soon as we start.
Yes, and it's funny because before I did not believe that I would make money from hand lettering. Did you know that?
Right.
I,
I
for
remember you said that one.
years, I did not believe. So I know I've been lettering since I was 10. But I have been doing this professionally since 2015, just 2015, and I have been designing scrapbook products and would like sometimes I would incorporate my hand lettering and I would say, I'm not gonna do this for a living. There's no money from this. Like I could not make any, and I was looking for an additional income back at the time because I had a child with special needs. And then I have two girls who were living in a foreign country. So we're building a family. So I was searching for things. And then when I wasn't searching for it, it came to me like in a different way. So my child was born. I was forced to stop doing whatever it is that I was doing, and I was forced to do whatever that one thing that I truly love doing, even if I did not get paid for it. So that was hand lettering, and eventually that is how my story began, and it just fell onto my lap because
Yeah. No, it's great. Sometimes we search so much and sometimes it's right in front of us because
I
we think
know.
the right weight must look like this and it must. And then you realize that I love this and look at this. it was similar. Like, I mean, I didn't mean to get into, had no means of becoming communication coach, body language coach, nor speaking publicly for like decades at all. But it, like you said, it fell onto my lap. I'm like, woo, love this, that I learned how to create a full career out of it. But sometimes we need to stop looking outwards and pause and look at what we have. And often, no, we have everything we need.
Yes. I love right? that. I love that.
We have everything we need. So sometimes it's pausing, or we should always, even once, I try to do it once a month, just pause and see, like, I celebrate my wins. Like, I'm like, Karen, yes, you did this, this, and this, because we have to pause sometimes and see what we have. Otherwise, we'll just focus on what we need to do better, what we need to do more of, how we need to get this way and by that one. And we never pause. And a part of it's showing gratitude, but just acknowledging how far we have already come.
Yeah. So I'm curious, how do you celebrate your wins?
Oh my goodness. Different ways. Like, it depends on the day. It depends when. So I'm a big foodie, and my kids love celebrating because they're like, you're always winning, so let's always go out and eat. So I celebrate everything. I do, or I try to, because I want to show my kids that you don't have to wait for this super big thing to celebrate yourself, right? So I'm a pescatarian. Most of my family is, we just do fish. We don't do any meat. So we go out and eat. I'm a big dessert lover. I literally go and get dessert. For me, it's chocolate walnut brownies, cheesecake, or cake. That's how I celebrate. Or I'll buy myself a gift or vacation, but I vacation often. But for the small wins, it's always based around dessert. And I want people to choose, like, how you celebrate has to be unique to you.
My celebration is actually, I don't like cooking when I have, even if it's just a small win, I would tell my husband, let's buy takeout. I don't like to cook for the day. So we're going to get takeout. Even if it's just McDonald's, I'll take McDonald's than cooking.
You got it. You find however you want to celebrate. For some of my clients, sometimes I'll walk to the park and I'll just buy myself like a special tea, right? And it doesn't have to be grand. It's like literally a cup of tea. And I literally sit on the park bench and I just spend my 10 minutes drinking my tea. And like, that's a celebration sometimes. So you just choose. But here's the thing. Practice celebrating. Do something. It might be taking an extra long bath or taking 5 more minutes in the shower. Please don't compare it with anyone else's. Just find what feels good to you and celebrate.
And it's also one way to practice gratitude, right?
Yes, it is. It is. It absolutely is. Like, the more we can appreciate the small wins, the more we open space for the other size wins and more of those wins to come your way.
Yeah. Sure. Oh my goodness. This is such an amazing, I don't know, was this an interview? Not at all. It was just a conversation.
Yes, I like it that way. Conversations are much more fun.
You made me more comfortable, actually.
Good to hear.
It was so nice chatting with you. But before we wrap up the session, I'd like everyone to know that Karen has gifted us something. It's a complimentary electronic copy of her book, How to Live a Life with No Excuses, The Truth About Excuses, How to Stop Making Them and Start Getting Results. So I will link it up in the show notes for all of you. Just head over to mydeleon.com/Karen. So Karen, one more thing before we go. If more creators want to know more about you or what you teach and what you do, where can they find you online?
Oh, great. So first things first, let me give you, feel free to go to my website. You can contact me through there. It's my name. So www.karendonaldson, and I will share it inc.com. So that's my website. For those who just want to focus on confidence, it's www.confidencedisruptor.com. For those of you who are on Instagram, you can find me at The Real Karen Donaldson, as well on Facebook. It's under Karen Donaldson. Everything's based around Karen Donaldson and Karen Donaldson Inc. And I know Mai will share it later. And the last thing, anyone who is an app savvy person, for Google Play and for the Apple Store, I have an app called Speak Confident app. You can download. It is free. There are resources in there, a lot of great articles. I have confidence hack videos in there too. So go and download your free app, Speak Confident.
Okay, I'm writing it down because I know I'm going to need to download that right after this interview. So thank you for that. It's called Speak confidence. So it's an app.
Yep. Speak Confident with a T.
Look at me giggle.
You got it. And everyone get the link. Speak Confident, CONFIDENT. Download it and let's stay connected.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll try and get the link on the Apple Store so that I can hook it up to the show notes. All right, so thank you so much, Karen. I had so much fun, and I'm pretty sure our listeners had fun as well and learned so much because you just dropped a ton of value in this interview, and I could not believe it, but I'm super thankful that you are here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. And please, everyone, reach out. Like, feel free to DM me when you follow me and say, hey, I listened to the podcast, have questions, feel free to ask. I'm a believer of iron sharpens iron, and we can all win together. Let's just make it happen.
All right. Well, thank you, Karen, and have a great day. Bye.
You too. Thanks so much.